Hey guys, welcome in. In this video, we're going to be bringing on Rodney to get into yet another astrological weather report segment. We've got some serious major transits going on, some of which we will not see again for perhaps 100 years. So this is an episode you don't want to miss. That's coming up. Stay tuned. Coming at you with another fresh, tasty episode with the man, Rodney Goodwin, for some more astrological weather report. So this is a big episode. We've got some very massive transits, some very long-term transits, and multiple things happening that you need to know about so that you can be more empowered. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it with Mr. Rodney. What's up, brother man?
Hey,
Welcome back to the show.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a May of really powerful transits, man. Some really cool stuff going down, and
I'm excited to get into it.
yeah, we definitely got opportunities here going on right now. So, especially we haven't even basically started retrograde seasons a ways away yet, and we still got plenty of time to really forge some things.
Oh yeah, pretty freaking intense, and it ended not that long ago. So I think everybody's just trying to cool off and recoup from that one.
Absolutely.
Everyone, if you're excited to get into today's episode, make sure you just quickly drop down and hit that like, give us a little boost in the algorithm.
Yes.
Here, go ahead and subscribe so that you can see more awesome content. And so, yeah, man, what you got for us, Rodney?
So, we've had this coming for a while. I put a video out on my page, pinned it to my Facebook page about this particular transit back in January because I saw it. I looked ahead, I kind of saw it, and looking at my own personal transits also, and then some of the returns that I'm having in context are major. It really caused me to kind of forge something into the reality field for my own self and start a real great business opportunity. So I can't say that it's been easy, but it's definitely been worth it. And it's been a very powerful time to make a splash in the ethers. And now, we have this basic, time now where all of the energies, they're basically coming into what I call a highly challenging position, but also a position of mastery. So, and we're talking about 29 degrees, 28 degrees, anaretic aspects. So if you have these type of positions in your chart, 28, 29 degrees, with different planetary orbs in context to your templating, and I want to address something about templating. When we're looking at our own, template and the actual wheel of our own, energies, this is all real. I mean, this is what blows my mind about astrology is how absolutely accurate it is and how real it is in context to how you actually function with your disposition, how your mindset, your moon, your energies, your sun, all of this plays a part in your actual not only resolving of karmic issues, but learning how to wield these energies and these particular, conjunctions and squares and sextiles and all down the line effectively so that you can really turn into what I call a high planetary alchemist. And this is what this is all about. And this is why we learn astrology. This is why we come into a place where we explore our internal universe. Mm-hmm. And this is why, because these opportunities present themselves in context to how the planetary clock is moving, not only, as we see it, but it is vibrational correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without. So we have this going on an internal dialogue. Right. So when we're talking about 28, 29 degree positions, we're talking about highly challenging positions that are going to help you absolutely complete something. And then bring that completion and that wisdom and that understanding into an actual manifestation of something within the reality field that not only is benevolent to your own life and your own reality, but also makes an impact on the collective aspect. And this is what we're looking at with this transit that we've got going on, that we've had basically of May 18th. We had Sun conjunct Jupiter. Now, this happened
just really quick. I'd like to maybe try something a little bit different in our formatting, where if you could just list the big events that you plan on covering, just not even going into
Oh, sure.
but just name them, and then go one by one.
Yeah, so
I have an idea of what.
Right. Yeah. So basically, what we have Sun conjunct Jupiter, 29 degrees. That's on May
29.
Yeah. So and we're throwing Venus in there too, because Venus is at 24 degrees. So we're looking at, kind of a structure there with your Sun, Jupiter, and Venus. This is a powerful conjunction. And when we're looking at the 29 degree aspect, like I said, this is what we're dealing with on a collective level, but also to your personal template, And then I would also like to deal with this in context to its absolute trining to the Plutonian energy, which we're dealing with also in context to the Aquarian aspect. Because you also have, at 23 degrees, you also have Uranus setting there, which is dealing with that 11th gate into the actual in context of ignition. So we're looking at ignition. We're looking at Venus, which is what? Running the Taurus and Libra gates. And then we're looking at Jupiter, which, that's the benevolence and the luck and the actual expansion of consciousness and the ignition of your heart and that heart space and context, all running to the construct of that Tauronian sun that's sitting there at 29 degrees, which is basically taking that whole Taurus gate. And this is how things wield. So these are basically the two aspects that we need to talk about. I mean, you could write a book on this thing, because literally, like, you see how the dark occult wield all this stuff in context to the sexual aspect and that's going on right now, what's being thrown out there, the victim mentality, all of the bullshit that's going on. We talked about that, a couple days ago. And you see how they're using that transit against you. And this is what I want to say about this. If you don't understand how your transits are working, it's fifth house transits, especially Venus transits. If you don't understand how those are working, then those will be used against you in context to access to your auric field when you are going through that transit and you don't have an understanding that leaves an opening. You're not sealed off because you don't have the knowledge and the understanding of what's going on. And so this is where things ride in on. So this is why we have to seal things off. And once we have the knowledge of our transits and what's going on, then we can deal with that shit, see? And we can see what's coming up ahead. And with this particular transit, this is a transit, a very powerful manifestation of wealth. This is and luck. This is what this is, really, really signaling. And partnership in context to that. Because Venus represents that seventh gate, which is partnership, which is Libra.
You said this is going to be going on for about the next year, starting pretty much right about now.
Yeah, because we're looking at what's being signaled in the heavens, right? So that's what's being the signaling of this.
Okay.
And so when we're looking at something at 29 degrees, we're seeing a signal here of what is beginning to take place in context to that, and where Jupiter is getting ready to run to, which is Gemini, see? And Sun's already moved into Gemini now, but, just one day. But we're sitting here realizing that Jupiter is getting ready to move into the Gemini gate. And that has everything to do with taking what this energy is right now, this wealth, this aspect of this conjunction to the sun and your kingdom and what you want to build, and then bringing that communication, bringing that absolute, movement to what? Bringing those hemispheres of Gemini into balance.
You said
You know?
it's Taurus as well, right?
And Taurus is what we're dealing with.
Right. So there's that. There's
Yes.
the wealth, but also your resources, everything that you have to build.
Yes.
It's like the lumber and everything, that you're going to build your kingdom with. I find that really fascinating. There's a couple things I want to just add as commentary on this. First of all, we just talked a couple days ago as we were catching up, and you told me that this was going down as pretty much as we speak. And what happened just yesterday? Bitcoin exploded.
Yep.
I mean, it went up like $10,000.
I know, it's crazy.
I think we're about to start the next leg of the bull cycle there.
Yeah.
So what did I say? I said on the phone, I said, "Oh, bull run anyone?" Like I called that
I know
that was likely going to happen. And the other thing is, you mentioned partnership and relationships.
Yes.
And what have we been seeing almost nonstop for like a month now on social media? All this
Unbelievable.
man versus woman.
Yes.
All these wounds and trauma coming out. And
Yes.
bear and all of that.
The whole bear thing. Exactly, man.
Yeah. But it's still going. Even the bear thing kind of died off a little bit, but the conversation is still going. It's
yes.
Lots of memes about men this, women that.
Yeah. And that's how they keep these transits from having their full potential to the actual reality field, and they flip them. So they use the energy that's being thrown through the ethers in context to the conjunctions, and then they take that and they use it against each other, keep us divide and conquer, keep us separated. Yeah, when we should be coming together with these transits and and then taking that and getting ignition to a higher level of consciousness. And this is how it's supposed to work, Well,
that Taurus energy is all about grounding down, right? Earthing.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the trauma doing? It's got the head severed from the body, and we've got all this disembodied trauma coming up and acting out.
Yeah, because we're dealing with a major lack of self-worth, self-love, self-confidence.
Yes, and that is it. I think that's the linchpin, if you will, to all of this, because self-worth is like your greatest form of internal currency. So it's like that Taurus energy, but in the microcosm, in the inside, your worth. That's your value as a human being, and then everything regarding polarity and the masculine and feminine dynamics all comes back to self-worth, because that's why people invert their sexual energy. Is they're acting out of diminished self-worth from some sort of wounding.
Right. And it's not just, we can look at it, from a child and all that stuff, but it's also doing with karmic aspects in context to incarnations. And we are looking at cycles. See, when we are going through our soul progression, as we are, as we're trying to progress with our soul spark, that's another thing that we're dealing with in context to the age, going back all the way to the age of Taurus in context to that. So if you want to take it back and look at the big picture, we're also dealing with incarnational aspects to self-worth, self-validation, self-love, and being able to take that then and realize that, whoa, wait a second here. This is the opportunity now that's signaling within the heavens where us mages can take a step forward in context to our financial position. And this is why it's so important to catch it here, because we have this next year now in context to the Jupiter cycles that we're dealing with, right? Look, man, how often do you get a 29-degree sun conjunction with Jupiter? It's very rare.
Very rare. Yeah.
And so you got to take advantage of these alchemical opportunities when they present themselves. Otherwise, you're wasting your time by not understanding them, not getting a hold of them and doing something,
I find it so fascinating how time and time again with this, when looking into astrology, when having these conversations with you who knows how to read the charts and the energies, that there's always so much confirmation. So these energies are totally at play regardless, but just having that self-awareness goes so much further, because then you're empowered and emboldened to really lean and tap into that And
Right.
what I'm getting at is that you and I have both been really working on some endeavors that are with the intent to advance our financial situation. We're
Absolutely.
already doing that,
Yes.
and we've come to completion within
Yes.
the time that you're saying is the time for completion that's going to spring forward into that. So it's so fascinating that, like, I think people who are very in tune and intuitive have a lot easier time going with those flows of energy. That way we're not just kind of totally freely like floating in aimlessly. We are tapped into those cycles and stages of evolution and progress. But again, just having that conscious gnosis of these cycles and what they're there for, what they're trying to show us, and what
Right.
the wind is blowing in this direction and saying, hey, you just open your sail and open it like this, and it'll just push you right forward. You know what I mean?
That's the whole point of it. You use the resources that you have available for you to work with. This is the time to do it. If you're going to work with something, if you're going to start something, if you're going to forward something, you take the resources that you have. And then what will happen is, because of that Jupiter energy, those resources there'll be an exponential, like a snowball effect. They will go further than you can ever possibly imagine because of the energies right now. You're not working with mediocre energies. You're working with big energies right now that are happening.
Right.
Look at the solar aspect and the auroras that's going on right now. When we're taking those energies, those are real hardcore big energies that are hitting the planet right now. Big transits hitting the planet right now, hitting our templating, causing us to have these powerful revelations and these moments where, it's like, honestly, man, that day, 17th, 18th, I had big booming energies rolling through me, man. I couldn't hardly contain myself. Just the love and the power of what was going on, realizing that what I'm forging, yeah, it is not easy, but I'm moving through something that is going to give me, the financial aspect that I need, not only for my own life and setting myself up, but also being able to help bring things into a space to help others bring this, bring this stuff into the reality field as well. That's what it's all about, man.
And man, I can say for sure that I've really felt the thickness of the psychic energy.
Oh, shit.
Like gooey, thick, like,
unbelievable.
I don't mean just the air. I mean like the psychic energy. Like there's big things going on in the sort of collective consciousness, the psychic weather. In addition to all the man and woman stuff, there's just like layers and layers to it, man. I can.
Well, when we're looking, we're looking at Neptune here. Where's Neptune sitting, man? Neptune is sitting at 29 degrees of Pisces right now.
29 again.
See? So this is that psychic energy that's sextiling to the sun that conjunct Jupiter. So we're getting supercharged, but also it's like
my dreams, dude.
Yeah,
dreams in my sleep have been just so fucking intense lately.
Oh, dude, crazy. Yeah, I know. And then then that is sextiling over to the Plutonian energy set there in Aquarius, and then that's trining back to the sun. So we have this this sextile trine aspect that's taking place with this conjunction. So we're looking at the outer planets. What are we looking at? Uranus being the ignition, the spark, the lightning. We're looking at Neptune being the psychic energy, the energy of the shaman, the energy of what? Of the unconscious, subconscious mind field, and where the healing has to take place. And then we're looking at the Plutonian energy, which is driving the narrative to transformation and transmutation of those two planets. In context, then you take and you throw Jupiter and the sun and Venus in conjunction with that, and basically all those benevolent energies running in context to all those orbs on the outer planets, then that drives that energy back into Venus, which is what's happening on the ground here. So then we're dealing with what? Our relationships, our self-worth, our self-validation, our self-love, and how much that we have grown. And now we're able to tap into that and drive the narrative to forge something powerful and great in the reality field.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on.
Great.
Yeah, that's some powerful stuff, man. I really feel like it's almost like a portal of wealth opening up for us. Over the next year, there's going to be so many opportunities when Jupiter moves to the Gemini. Things are going to move fast. We're going to see it's going to feel like time has sped up because of Jupiter being in that Gemini gate. Gemini is what? It's Hermes. It's the messengers. It's the message. It's the ancestral energy. It's Mercury, right? It's everything that happens fast. So with Jupiter sitting there, it's going to expand all of that now.
Right. See, accelerated.
It can accelerate that energy. So that's a lot of kind of what's going on right now. And, the opportunities are going to present themselves. And if you're not having the awareness to not only see them when they come into your field, but that have the knowledge and wisdom to know how to apply that in context to intent and the work that you've done and the work that you've put in. So this is why you put the work in, man, because when these opportunities come, you're able to wield the sword correctly in context to these relationships, and the opportunities that present themselves to you, and you just don't blow them off or say, I'm just going to keep doing the same shit I've been doing for the last 5 years. You've got to step into something. If you want to make something happen, you've got to take chances. You've got to take risks sometimes. You've got to set yourself out and make it work and have the confidence in your own self.
Right.
To get it done.
Self-validation.
Exactly.
What were you saying about the Gemini aspect, or like where was that coming up in the chart?
That's where, Jupiter's getting ready to move into Gemini.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about in context. So Jupiter is getting ready to move into that Gemini energy. And when Jupiter moves into Gemini, as you've seen what's happened in Taurus, in context to just looking at the financial markets, Jesus,
yeah.
I looked at the Dow, it's like 40,000.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? I was like, whoa.
What I was thinking too when you said that was, you mentioned Gemini, Mercury, and all of that, and I was kind of getting a big ping about communication and the importance of that, especially to make through that, because it's all going to be so amplified with the Jupiter there.
Yes.
And once again, coming back to this gender war, so-called, a lack of communication. And what is Gemini? The twins.
It is.
Right. And it's a mirror image of each other.
Yes.
That's the irony, is this whole men versus women thing. It's the same as Republicans and Democrats. It's just
same thing.
Looking themselves right in the mirror and say, I hate you. And it's hitting right back at them.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there's that communication barrier. That's the fucking problem, man.
It is. And when you start to realize when communications are getting jammed, that means you're having their spellcast going on. Spell casting is taking place, people. It happens every fucking day. And when your communications are getting jammed, right? It's because you are being jammed. Your communications are being jammed. Your radar, your moon is being jammed. See? And so if you're not navigating correctly, and the communications get twisted in the air, right? Then you're hearing something that someone else is saying, or opportunities that coming at you that isn't actually what you are perceiving. See, you're perceiving one thing, but it's actually something else because it's been twisted. And this is why you have to be able to have your shit together in context to your state of mind, because this is where things will get twisted, you know? And that, it's a good point, man, bringing up the communication aspect to what is actually happening right now. Because we will have Sun in Gemini, we'll have Jupiter moving into Gemini here very soon, and probably the next week. So we're going to just have everything this summer is going to move super fast, man. And we could see
dude, I can't believe we're halfway through 2024, dude.
I know.
It was in my mind.
I know. And we're sitting here going, what the hell, man? And now we're going to get things are really going to accelerate. We haven't really seen anything yet because, it's been sitting in that Taurus gate and grinding it out, in context to that. But now we're looking at the signaling in the heavens, this conjunction, this really powerful sextiling and trining to the, to Neptune and to Plutonian energy. And boom, we have an opportunity here, guys, to set something concrete into the ethers and into the reality field that's going to benefit you. And you could say that basically this next year, major luck can, in context to that, can be yours if you'll just step into it and create the correct state of mind and the correct course corrections that you need to make to get it done.
Right. It's only an opportunity if you capitalize on it. Otherwise.
That's right. Yeah. If you don't step into it, look, the only thing that can stop you is fear. Being afraid. I sat there the other day, about a week ago, I got this business started. I've ignited it. It's kicking ass. It's really rolling, man. I mean, almost too much.
Yeah.
In some ways, right? and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, man, I was free. I was able to do whatever I wanted to do. I could go to the lake. I could make a video. I could do all this stuff, right? I had all this freedom, and now I'm stuck, forging this business, and it was grinding on me. And then I had this booming voice inside of me that says, it was your choice.
Yeah.
You made this choice. And so I went to look at my chart, and I know my chart backwards and forwards, right? I mean, I'm an astrologist. I know what my chart is. And I have this, I just had my Saturn return, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at this opposition with Uranus at 1 degree. So I have a 1 degree opposition between Saturn and Uranus. And all of a sudden, this voice said to me, you chose this because you need to find your freedom in the midst of the Saturnian energy to ignite the Uranus energy and to resolve this opposition. Once you resolve this opposition, all that karmic aspect and context to what you are forging right now and the lessons that you're learning, that's where you will find your freedom in the midst of that. See? And that's what we have to remember. Sometimes in the most horrific and most constricting places is where your freedom is. That's where the gold is. I mean, you just look at it and you just go, holy shit. But it freed my mind. That little tidbit with Saturn and speaking with that in context freed my mind. Because I was like, that's what I got to do. I got to forge my freedom within the midst of what I'm doing right now, what I have chose, what I am forging right now, where I'm using my magic, where I'm putting my magic, my intent, my energy, my power base and context. And then I'll find my freedom, not only my physical freedom and mental freedom, but my financial freedom as well.
See, it's like learning to walk with an elephant on your back.
Yeah, right. Exactly. What happens to you your body starts to adjust.
Yes.
And it makes adjustments in context to what you have to carry.
And then as soon as that elephant's not there anymore.
Right.
You're like in moon gravity. You're just like.
Yeah. You're like the wind. You like the wind. Exactly, man.
Yeah. That's powerful, dude. I love that perspective. Finding freedom in the struggle, in the adversity,
Yes.
So that's bringing up like, Nauthiz, the rune Nauthiz, for
It
example.
is absolutely.
It's that state of emergency that causes you, activate and to go come online and start like being creative and trying to make things happen, because it's like do or die at that point.
Right, because most people don't understand ISA. And with ISA, you've got to realize that that's your frozen magic. See, that's Niflheim. That's your frozen magic in context to what needs to be breathed of the fire of the dragon that needs to be breathed upon that ice so that magic can start to unthaw. See? And when we're looking at it, that's Ganunda Gap, and that's taking it back to what? The circle, the void, the actual fucking circle in context to what you're going to create with fire and ice.
It's your creative magic, man.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
From the all, the something is born, basically, or forged.
Exactly.
It's taking the infinite possibility, the unmanifested potential of everything, and collapsing it down into the singularity of actuality.
Yeah. This is the song. It's Wardruna called Uru, and basically it says, "I traveled in memory back to the ice that gave birth to me. Feel the heat from the breath that drained me." And that's Uru, man. That is the actual Taurus energy that we're talking about.
Because like Al-Dumla, right? Al-Dumla was born of that merging.
Yeah, exactly, man. So that's what we're dealing with right now. The unthawing of Isa, the unthawing of our magic in context. This is Jupiter conjunction with Sun. The powerful magnetism of Jupiter, the Sun itself melting the stagnation of Isa, so that Isa then could become what? It could become the actual magic that we're going to wield to breathe forth into the reality field our true purpose of incarnation and why we came here to begin with.
Yep. That didn't change.
It didn't change. It has not changed.
It's still there, and it's getting on you.
Yes, and it's your choices in context to purpose and intent that drive the narrative to what you create.
Yep. You're either moving towards it or you're moving away from it.
Either or.
Every choice is a choice, even if you choose not to, right?
Absolutely, man. You can decide by not making a choice, you've made one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. The ever becoming Verdandi.
Right. And we're dealing with this very powerful, Pluto coming into the gate of Aquarius here, man. So, and that's all trining to this energy. So, we talked about this in previous segments, about that transit and what it represents. Go back and listen to those, because that's something that is very powerful. How, the energies that we're bringing here at AWR are very powerful and have meaning, have purpose. And if you listen and you apply these things, you're going to have results.
Yes. And speaking of, for those watching, I will put a card up here at the top right corner if you want to see the playlist, so you can watch all of these segments. Go
absolutely.
Just because they're not happening now, just because it's not the current month kind of thing, doesn't mean they're still not relevant. And if you want to really understand where you are, you have to go back and look at where you've came from and understand the energies that have already
absolutely
out, so that you have context of where we are and then where we're going next.
Yeah, because the heavens are signaling. They're signaling something that is powerful. That's taking place. The heavens are like a prophet. They're telling you what's getting ready to take place. They're always speaking. And so in context to prophecy or foreknowledge of this type of thing, you have to begin to look at what the heavens are signaling and then realize that that's not just that day or that week or that month. It's signaling something of intent that's taking place and that's going to take place and have energies that are going to continue to move on in cycles, because this is how the astrology works. It works in what? Cycles.
Yes.
So this is how we work. We work with those cycles in context.
Absolutely. So,
So it's a very powerful time that we're here, guy. We're here having this conversation between you and I, and we've never actually met in person, but yet we're still having this dialogue going on now for quite a while, and it's been beneficial for both of us.
absolutely.
And so this is what we're talking about in context of forging relationships. These are high level relationships that we're forging here to the Venus construct in context to what? Partnerships, friendships, on down the line. And if they're not beneficial like this, you need to broom them, because all they're doing is creating baggage in your life.
Sucking your energy
Sucking your energy, man. So, this is all a part of this. And when we're talking about, this type of conjunction, we're talking about you stepping out of the fucking boat, getting things in gear and moving yourself into a position where you can catch the wind. And like you said, put the sail up in the correct position so that you put the effort in to do that, then you can catch that wind. And that's where your magic begins to be forged in context. See,
riding those energies.
all of us have limitations because of our mind, because of what we've been, how we've been conditioned in context to the matrix itself.
In addition to just our strengths and weaknesses as
Exactly.
personality.
Exactly. So you don't know how powerful you truly are until you actually face an adversity.
Yes.
So facing adversity is part of the growth process. You can't shun it. You can't walk away from it, turn away from it, or say, I just don't have the time or energy to go through that. You got to be able to find your dragon energy here, and if you can find that dragon energy and get to that position where you are, you're actually taking initiative to actually do something, you will see the results. You can't. That was the other thing. I was sitting there and I was like, man, I'm not afraid to fucking fail. I'm not afraid to fall on my face. See? And I look at it and I say, you know what? I'm going to do what I have to do to make it work. And it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Doesn't matter what anyone else does. I'm going to do what it takes to protect the investment and then bring that into manifestation and do what I need to do to make it work. And you can't worry about what anybody else is going to think when you're doing that. You have to do it for yourself because you're not afraid to fail. Ooh, I better not do that because if I do that, this could happen, or that person might not like it, or my customers might not like it, or whatever. See, no, you do it because you're doing it to make it work. Now, that's the attitude that you have to have. You got to have that attitude, man, because what you have is worth a lot. And you've got to have that mindset that what you're wielding is worth gold. It's worth the power and the energy and the intent and the magic that you're throwing into it.
Right. Because we all have a unique purpose.
Absolutely.
We have a unique role and gift that we bring to humanity.
Yeah. I mean, why are you here? Why did you incarnate? Why are you in this body? Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you tired of doing what you're doing? Is your soul's purpose not being ignited because you're stuck in this or you're stuck in that? That is where you have to take a look at your own self in the mirror and say, how can I change this? This is the time to do it, guys. If you want to fucking forge it, it is the time to do it right now.
Boom. Well said, brother. Do we want to kind of summarize just everything that we've gone over, kind of put it in a nice, neat package, and then maybe wrap it up?
Sure. So we're at a precipice right now. and I know that many of our the listeners, on the Wizard Factory and those who listen to us are doing progression work. They're really looking at things and they're trying to make better versions of themselves on down the line. And so this would be like this conjunction and this energy right now, and the energies that are coming out, context of the solar energies that we're dealing with are like big arrows, man, that are being pulled back right now, being just pulled back as far as they could be pulled back for ignition. And so we're at this point right now where you've got to let go and not have any fear. You've got to look that shit in the face and you got to say, no, I am going to actually set myself into a position to forge something. The heavens are declaring it. The energies are declaring it. The actual setup of what I have is declaring it. I can take the resources, this small resources that I may have right now, and they can exponentially give me a catapult that I need in my life. And that's what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with catapult energy that's going to drive the narrative to begin to forge something great in your life. And wrapping it up, that's what this energy is, a portal opening up. There's a portal of wealth and opportunity that is opened up. It has opened up. It is open right now.
That's the time to ask yourself, what do you want?
Yeah.
Right. And that's not just a selfish thing. It's like, because if you incarnated here, that was your choice to begin with, and you have a purpose. That is what you want, because that's why you came here. So what you really want, what you truly, truly want, is that which is aligned with your purpose, your truest self.
Right.
Like
right.
A new car or, a new iPhone or some dumb shit. Like, we're talking about, what do you really want in life? What impact do you want to have on people? What's the lifestyle that you want to live, right? Maybe you want to go get some land and live more free and independently. Well, you're going to need resources for that.
Right. That's right.
So use your brain, use your heart, put those together.
Yes.
With a fucking plan. You have to have a plan, and then you have to put that plan into action. And as Rodney said, just go for it. Not be afraid to fail, not be afraid to not be perfect, right? Because it's never going to be perfect. I think that's a lot of people back, and I struggle with that as well as analysis paralysis, trying to make sure everything's so perfect before you start. And I mean, of course, you have to plan, and you've got to make sure you have a good chance of success before you begin. There's no reason to just be reckless and waste resources and time having to go back and fix mistakes excessively, that sort of thing. But generally, there is no perfect moment. You're never going to be fully ready. You have to learn, like, it's good enough. It's time to just jump and learn to fly on the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't be, you're going to make mistakes, but there's nothing wrong with taking those mistakes and then using them as fuel, right? That's what you do. I mean, I've made a few mistakes here and there, with what I've done, but,
they weren't catastrophic.
Overall, you take the mistakes and you learn from them, and then you use it as fuel, because guess what? You're looking at something that you're trying to bring into reality.
Yeah.
You're bringing something into reality.
Either way,
whatever, right? So you might as well bring something into reality that's going to be benevolent and beneficial to your progression work and what you'd love to do and what lights you up.
Right. Just like Joe Dispenza says, if you continue to do what you've always done, you will continue to get what you've always got.
Yeah, there's no change.
You have to make that change.
Yeah.
Break the pattern.
Yeah, if you don't do that, then you're never going to get out of the fucking box, man. You're just not. You're not.
But you have to believe in it first. because that's the thing that gets most people. You try to encourage them, well, why don't you, do this or that, start a business or something. And they're just like, yeah, well, and then they'll just vomit out all the reasons why.
It takes me back to that movie, Back to the Future, where he's like, hey, Marty McFly is talking to his dad in the past, and it's like, hey, why don't you go ask her out, And he's like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could handle that type of rejection, failure, you know? You know what I mean? And it's like, what?
Yeah.
You will never know. To forge a timeline within your life, you will never know where that leads until you actually create it. You want to create a timeline in your own life, then you forge that timeline.
Yeah.
And otherwise, most people are just living on the timeline of the fucking Matrix, walking around with no internal dialogue, like NPCs, walking around, no soul ignition, no nothing, just doing their thing week after week, month after month, year after year, waiting around for retirement. And then in the midst of that, they have no purpose other than just being a cog in the wheel. Fuck that. If you want to create something, create your own timeline. See, by forging something within the reality field that's going to actually make ripples within the ethers. There's going to be warfare. I've come up against it the last few months, but guess what, man? You incinerate that shit. You jam those spell casts. See, that come at you with your state of mind and what you're actually wielding in context to your own magic, and being able to actually forge something within your state of mind and existence itself. Fuck all that fear and the lack of self-worth and, what happens if I get rejected? And what happens if I fail? Fuck all that, man. Yeah. You do it for you.
You got to have your own back.
Yeah. Do it for you.
Nobody else will. Or
nope.
You can't count on anyone else to.
Nope.
And the other thing is, maybe start small, because
that's it.
You don't have the confidence, you have to build that. You have to, and so you start with something that's confidence is not something that you just decide to have. It's earned through proving yourself to yourself.
Yes.
Again and again and again, until you've learned to trust yourself that you can handle whatever it is, and that you always come out on top.
Confidence is cultivated.
Yeah,
and when you cultivate it correctly,
that you can win, and start there, and then just keep working up.
Yeah, get yourself a win, and then once you get that win, then you draw on that.
Very encouraging.
Build on that.
Shit, I did that. Wow. I didn't expect that.
Exactly, and that's what this transit's all about. It's about benevolence. It's about luck. It's about forging something with Saturn. With Jupiter. And being able to take that soul expression, what lights you up, what excites you, what gets your mojo up, so to speak, and then taking that and saying, okay, how can I take this, what I love, my mojo, what I'm excited about, and forge it into something that's going to benefit me. See? And that then becomes the unthawing of Isa. That's the breath of Muspelheim. That is taking place in context to where you're creating something in the midst of getting into gaps.
Well said, man.
So,
all right. Well, quickly tell people, where they could find you and your services, all that good stuff.
Basically, you can get a hold of me, hardcoreproductions.com. My page is up, and I have all kinds of readings that you can services that you can tap into. Also, if you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on Messenger. I have a Hardcore Productions page on Facebook as well. You can hit me up at Rodney Goodwin. You can email me at hardcoreproductions9@gmail.com. And so there's a lot of different ways. I also have a link tree, which I think he will have that. That would be that at the bottom of the descriptions. So, I do all kinds of readings. I just don't do astrology. I do rune readings. I do tarot readings. I do tarot rune combinations. I do transit readings. I do just regular counseling. I mean, I do a lot of different things that can help you to, to level up your, your soul's progression work, so we're here, we're available. And, Logan and I are excited about, what's coming and what we're both forging.
Hell yeah, man.
So
Folks, definitely hit him up. He gives great insight, and he'll get into your charts or whatever you need. And so that's going to do it. Make sure you like the video again. If you have thoughts, please share down below. Don't just think it in your mind. Start a conversation. We love interacting with you guys, and it helps the video perform. So do that, and find the Wizard Factory on social media and follow us. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and please engage with the content. Again, every little like and comment and share, that really helps. And I mean, the algorithms are not helping. So
yeah, no kidding.
The channel, that's the easiest way that you can do it, is just engage more with the content. You can also find us on Patreon and help support me there for a small financial amount, and you get some bonuses like early access to episodes and things like that. So anything you want to help out, it's all greatly appreciated. This has been another powerful and fun segment with Goodwin.
Right.
And so thanks everyone for watching. I hope you did enjoy, and we'll see you in the next video. But until next time, be empowered, inspired, and encouraged.